Stand up. Stand up on your feet. You can sit for a little bit. If I don't get you to stand up, then this will be suicide for me. All right? What we'll do just want you to do what I say, and then we'll circle around to it so you can understand what it was all about. So real quick, I want you to say, understand it. I'm sorry, acknowledge it. Point, acknowledge it. Literally point, acknowledge it. Accept it. Appreciate it. Accelerate. One more time. Acknowledge it. Accept it. Appreciate it. Accelerate. Take a seat. My name is Marv Fox. I'm what you call a Concordia University Ann Arbor life. Been a student twice. Been a student athlete. Got 2 degrees here. I worked for admissions. Been on the coaching staff for the basketball team. Been a volunteer. Been an adjunct professor. And then I was given an opportunity through Dean Rashi to kind of be all those things in one. So he said, listen, I need you to come up with a program for me. But you got to involve 3 things. So the first thing is I want you to commemorate the black experience in America for the last 400 years. So from 1619 till now, I need you to commemorate that experience, right? Help us understand what inspires the legacy, the culture, and behavior of the black experience. So I got you. So the second thing is I need the program to have Christian principles, right? Christian principles as it relates to understanding, love, empathy, forgiveness. You got to make sure that whatever you come up with has to include Christian principles. I said, I got you. Since the third thing is you got to make it inclusive. So you got to take the black narrative, the black experience, but you got to make it so that everybody's connected to it. Everybody can see themselves in this narrative, right? All right. So I came up with this thing called #400. The Black American experience told in totality. The Black American experience told in totality, #400. What I'm doing is I want to commemorate the black experience. When we say the word commemorate, we want to respect it. All aspects, the highs, the lows, everything from the lowest blues to the highest symphony and everything in between as it relates to the black experience. And so when we want to ask the question we want to ask is, what inspires legacy, culture, and behavior? A lot of times we see blacks at the highest of highs, and you celebrate them, you acknowledge them, whatever the case may be. When we see it on the low end, all of us, whether you're black, white, or anything else, we have a tendency to condemn, to judge, to point the finger. We become judgmental, rightfully so. Right? Rightfully so, because we're not thinking, I wonder what inspires what I'm seeing. We're just thinking, that's wrong. That person's crazy. That person lost it. That person's obnoxious. That person's narcissistic. So on and so forth. But we're never ever asking the question, I wonder, what's the backdrop of what I'm seeing in front of me? That person show up a certain kind of way. I wonder why. Right? So what we got to do is ask the question, what inspires legacy, culture, and behavior? One of the key features of the #400 program is this thing called the A game. The A game, you just did it for me real quick. You acknowledge the situation, you accept it, you appreciate it so that you can accelerate. So let me tell you how it all breaks down. When you go through something, and we all go through something, we've all been hit hard, right? We've been in situations that get heated and heavy, and we go through something, and a lot of times we experience some sort of emotion. But a lot of times people tell us to get over it. Get over it. It's nothing. Just move on. That's bad advice. Anytime somebody going through something that you love, never ever tell them to get over it. No, if you think it's big, it's big. If you think it's heated and heavy, it is. Don't ever look at somebody's situation like because you can get through it and tell them you should get through it too. No, when we start giving advice based upon what we can do, that's when things go left. So the first thing we want to do is when we go through something and we think it's hurtful, it's harmful, we want to acknowledge the moment, but we also want to acknowledge what moment it elicits. The second thing we want to do is we want to accept it. We want to accept it enough to make friends with our emotions. I know that sounds corny and goofy. Let me break it down. A lot of times we go through things, we don't want to acknowledge it, but then also we don't want to accept it. So what we do is when we go through something, we have an outer body experience. What I mean by that is we detach from our person, which signs our permission slip to be judgmental. So we can say, look at all the people who are responsible for everything that I'm going through right now, all my emotions, my insecurity, my anger. Look at all the people who are responsible for, you guys did this to me. We judge, right? But what we want to do is, oh, I'm sorry, sometimes we judge people and then we judge ourselves. Sometimes we may detach from the moment and then we'll do something. Maybe we made a mistake. We hurt somebody inadvertently. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll blame, shame, guilt trip ourselves. There's a lot of people who did something to somebody, they made a mistake and they can never get past it because they never took time to acknowledge or accept it. So what we want to do is we want to stay connected to ourselves when we're going through it so that we can make friends with our emotions. So you have a seat, when you want your anger to have a seat. And you like, emotion, where you come from? And emotion might say, man, you know where I came from. Remember when moms and pops went through that? And they were disgruntled, they were upset, they were toxic energy. Remember that? And remember how we picked up on that when we were 7? And we got rewarded for that. We got rewarded for mimicking them because they thought it was cute, they thought it was funny. Well, here's the thing. You grew up to age 8, age 9, age 10, 15, 18, and all that toxicity, all that anger, those insecurities, all that stuff remained because no one ever talked about it. We never really understood it, right? So now we're creating the legacy of when things go bad, we become toxic. But here's the good thing. Once I understand where my emotions come from, now I can make adjustments. Now I can make adjustments. Now I understand I got it. You came here to show me that I had this deficiency, that I had this weakness. Now I can operate on that weakness. Now I can build that muscle so I can now make myself bigger, better, faster, stronger for the next thing down the line, which may be my purpose. So now I can appreciate the moment. I can appreciate everything that I've been through because I understand this universe. God is conspiring to assist and serve me, not limit me. So what I want to do now is, after I get done appreciating what I've been through, now I can accelerate through life, leaving back the stuff that I don't, and take with me what I need. And what I need is that knowledge, that wisdom, that understanding, that love. So what we do with the hashtag 400, we look at the black experience and we apply the A game. We say, this is what's happening in America. This is what's happening in America. These are all the events that took place. These are all the players that are involved. Let's understand what took place. Let's acknowledge what took place. Let's accept it. Let's appreciate it. Let's accelerate with the information that we need. These are back to stuff that we don't. And then once we understand what we're looking at, understanding the society as it relates to the black experience, and then the next thing that we want to do is now we want to put ourselves in their shoes and kind of understand ourselves a little bit better. Man, what would I do if I was in their shoes? And you don't have to be a white person to ask that question. You can be a black person because I've never been chained up. But I think to myself, man, I wonder what I would do if I was in that situation. I wonder what would happen if my circumstances in my neighborhood were a little less developed. I wonder what I would have become. And as we start to do that, we start to develop that empathy, that love, that understanding, that ability to lean into our Christianity and really show up as people who have been touched and loved by God. Now we can give that same love to society. And it don't matter what the race is. Now it's inclusive. Now everybody's being taken care of, right? So here's the thing. Pretty soon you see these posters going up for hashtag 400, right? You'll know when you see them. Pretty big posters, they're being black and white with a hashtag 400, big letters posted on the poster. The sessions will take place on Wednesdays, and you'll see all the dates and stuff like that. But I encourage you to come through, right? Because this is happening. Dean Raji and a bunch of other people, they care so much about you, man. They want to create an environment where you can not only go to school, get the academic piece, you can get the athletic piece, you can get the extracurricular activity and all of that, but we got to make sure you become better somehow. How many of you all plan on having families with you at some point? Families. You want to have a spouse, want to have kids? Look, man, if you aren't acknowledging what you're going through and making sense of it, how are you going to help your spouse? How are you going to help your kid? I'm going to give you a little piece of reality. I'm going to sit down. I don't know what my time is, but I got 24 seconds. I'll be brief. I got a little son, 11 years old. 11 years old. It's going to be a late bloomer, right? Late bloomer. So he got like a little chunkiness to him. Today he ran for 20 minutes straight, right? 20 minutes straight. He's been doing that all summer, but he's still kind of chunky, right? Kid, he goes swimming, he won't take his shirt off. He won't take his shirt off because he's still a little dope, right? A little chunky. All right? I try to tell him, hey, man, don't worry about it, man. You're okay. You can take your shirt off. He's like, no, I'm going to swim. I'm going to have fun swimming, but I'm keeping his shirt on, right? Get him the little Nike Swingman jerseys. Like, I want you to rock that with just rock the jersey. He's like, no, I need that t-shirt. All right? Then I'll rock that jersey. So what I noticed is my son got some body issues, a little insecure. But it's okay, because Pop has some body issues too. Pop was insecure. Pop still insecure about some things. Still going through it. But because of what I'm going through, and because of what I'm able to acknowledge, and how I'm able to work through my challenges, I can talk to him and I can help him out. You dig what I'm saying? So some of this stuff that you might think, I don't really care about, I just want to catch the football. I just want to swing the bat. I just want to get my degree. I want to get out of here. I get that. I understand that. But we got to make sure that you come out of here better. And we got to make sure we prepare you not only to be a Christian and serve this community and serve this world, but to also serve your family, serve your husband, your wife, your children. And then when they come to you with problems and challenges and adversity, you have a process that will help them, right? You can help them acknowledge what they've been through. You can help them accept what they've been through by making friends with their emotions. You can help them appreciate what they've been through. And last but not least, you can help them accelerate, leave what you need, and leave back the stuff that you don't. All right? So hopefully, I see you at #400. We'll have about four to five sessions throughout the course of the semester. I hope you come through. Some of you may come through your classes, some of you may come on your own, but I'll be there, I'll be ready, and I promise you I'll make it dope for you, okay? Last but not least, I want to thank Alicia for giving me the opportunity. I don't know where she is, she disappeared. Okay, I want to thank Alicia for allowing me to be here and hang out with you guys and talk. I want to thank Dean Rashi for giving me the opportunity. Is Dean Rashi going too?
No, he's right there.
Okay, I want to thank Dean Rashi for allowing me to hang out. And most of all, I want to thank the most incredible, CUAA class of 2023. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for listening and rocking with me. And hopefully, this is.
Yeah, I'm 2020 though, so I felt slightly offended, but it's okay.
I said, why I gotta say all the numbers? I can't just. All right, cool, my bad, man. I'm trying to get y'all love. She hating on me, man. So you gotta understand where I'm coming from, so you can accept where I'm coming from. All right, y'all take care. My name is Marv Fox Jr. Done.